Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. My name is Komal Panjwani, a BS Psychology student at DHS Sufa University and a proud member of the VOW Pakistan. It is an honor to be your host for this remarkable event. Today is special for two reasons. First, we celebrate the 78th Independence Day of Pakistan, honoring the Mar-ke-Haq, a recent victory over India that restored deterrence and reinforced our pride as a nation. Second, we witnessed the official launch of the VOW Pakistan, founded by Ms. Anika Memon. And while this launch is the highlight of today's program, the event is proudly held in collaboration with the Center for Alternative Perspectives, a partner whose mission aligns deeply with ours in empowering youth and amplifying diverse voices. Today's event follows a unique approach. Instead of the traditional patterns where the speaker talks and participants only ask questions at the end, we want to include your voices. We believe young perspectives are not only valuable, they are essential. After our keynote session, we will have an open mic segment where participants can share their views, reflections, and thoughts on today's topic. Before we begin, let us start with the recitation from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Thank you. Now please rise for the national anthem of Pakistan.
Komal, you are not audible.
Today's event is not just a celebration, it is a statement, a reaffirmation of Pakistan's resilience and a shared commitment to building a stronger and more inclusive future. The VOW Pakistan, led by Ms. Anika Mehman, is a pledge to empower youth through education, skills trainings, mentorship, and opportunities. Its vision is to create a Pakistan where every young person has access to quality learning, develops essential skills, and connects with opportunities through strong partnerships with academia, industries, and the corporate sectors. This mission aligns with SDG 4 on quality education, SDG 5 on gender equality, SDG 8 on decent work and economic growth, SDG 10 on reduced inequalities, and SDG 17 on partnerships for the goals, all of which guide the organization in shaping capable, confident, and socially responsible youth.
Komal, please continue.
Today's celebration is enriched by our collaboration with the Center for Alternative Perspectives, founded by three visionary PhD scholars, Dr. Sidra Ahmed, Dr. Samreen Abri, and Dr. Sundas Basharat. CAP challenges repetitive, one sided narratives, advocates for marginalized voices, and ensures youth perspectives are brought to the front to the forefront. They have organized numerous successful seminars and events to ensure diverse experiences are included in national discourse. This partnership for today's webinar perfectly reflects SDG 17, working together to amplify ideas, bridge perspectives, and empower the next generations. It is my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Sidra Ahmed, President of CAP, Assistant Professor at BUKC and PhD in International Relations. She will address the topic Geopolitics Turnaround, Pakistan, US Rapprochement, and India's Strategic Setback, exploring the shifts in regional power and what they mean for Pakistan. Please welcome Ma'am Sidra.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, and many thanks to you, especially Komal, for such a generous introduction of Center for Alternative Perspectives. Because right now I'm more happy to represent myself from the identity or affiliation with the Center for Alternative Perspectives, which we usually call as CAP. Um, um, I would like to pay my earnest regards and thanks to Ms. Anika Mehman as well for this collaboration at the very beginning of her blockbuster return. The VOW Pakistan is basically the dream or the, you can say, the ambition of Ms. Anika Mehman. She was already looking for since a very long time, but finally this is the monumental day or the remarkable day of 14th of August that she has launched her long-term goal because I believe that this is going to be a long way, inshallah. And Center for Alternative Perspectives is and will always be happy to collaborate in every capacity. Inshallah, we will work together. And thank you very much, everyone who has joined us in today's session. Especially, I would like to mention Dr. Fatma Agha, who is Vice President of Center for Alternative Perspectives. She has also joined. There are some of our very dearest members of CAP, One I can see is Mr. Iqbal Jamil, who is always beside us whenever we need him, whenever and wherever we need him. He's one of the most senior journalists who has more than 30 years of experience in journalism, maybe 40 years. I'm not basically time bounding his experience. And other than that, I could see Sir Amir Sultan. Mashallah, he was himself is a big name, and I am really feeling honored and fortunate to have such big names in today's session. Acha, as far as the topic is concerned, by the way, before moving forward, I would like to engage my audience because this is the topic which is ongoing. This is not something which has already wrapped up or was already concluded. So there will be so many things which we cannot talk about with certainty, because the issue or the development that we are going to discuss today, that we will try to understand today, is something that is developing. This is ongoing, this is developing, and this is not certain, and this is not something which has already concluded. So there will be so many things which we cannot be sure of at this point of discussion, of at this point of our effort to understand it. And that is why I would like to ask my people who are the part of the audience to please communicate their ideas, their opinion and analysis regarding it. And I can also see Miss Maria Ilyas here. She is also an active member of Center for Alternative Perspectives. So Maria, thank you very much for joining us. And let us begin with the discussion first. But one thing that I really want you people to do is make points of your own opinion, or maybe write in the chat box so that we can engage or we can include those opinions as well. This is something which is not a simple or clear cut. The problem that is in our consideration, it is about the US-Pakistan rapprochement or the realignment. And this is something which is not a new phenomena. This has been happened multiple times in history of Pakistan, and every time whenever it was happened for some very solid reasons and some very solid foreign policy objectives, not totally Pakistan's foreign policy objectives, but the basic concern or the basic you can say the impetus behind it is always US foreign policy concerns or US foreign policy goals that US wants to achieve, and Pakistan used to cooperate and collaborate in that regard. So US-Pakistan rapprochement, and we connected it when we, Ms. Anika and I was discussing about the topic. We wanted to give a wholesome picture. We wanted to discuss a wholesome picture of the recent romance between Pakistan and US, the one more phase of the romance between Pakistan and US. We cannot conclude it, we cannot understand it without involving or without including another, you can say the third party maybe, or the third factor which is very important, and that is India. So what India is actually experiencing and what it is going to experience further, and not just Pakistan, India and USA, the triangle of all these three powers, major power, superpower, and we can call ourselves as emerging power maybe. तो इन तीनों का जो है हमें नेक्सस को स्टडी करना है, but we will also look into the relationship of these three countries with other major powers as well. So this is a very complex topic. It is not a simple and very straightforward topic. It is a complex, it is a multi-angular topic and multidimensional as well. So let's begin with the context of it, why we are discussing it today, and what is the significance of this topic that we thought to start the VOW Pakistan with it, क्योंकि आज पहला दिन है VOW Pakistan, which is basically the brainchild of Miss Anika, or she wanted to have a discussion, she wanted to have a brainstorming on this particular topic. So what was the reason behind it? The context को समझने के लिए I would request Miss Anika to please show the PowerPoint presentation on the screen so that our audience may also connect with it.
Is it visible?
Yeah. It's visible now. Can you do it full screen?
Yeah, here it is.
Thank you. So this is the main concern or the main issue or the main topic that is in our consideration, US-Pakistan rapprochement and India's strategic setback. We consider it as a setback. Indians are projecting it in a very other way around, or हमें उसको भी समझना है कि why India is perceiving it, or why India is responding to it in a very different manner, and Pakistan is actually celebrating over fine, India is having a setback. So we will try to understand and we will try to analyze the situations going on the both sides just because of a single actor, and that is United States of America. We will also try to understand the challenges, options, and opportunities for both India and Pakistan. Or uske baad phir definitely we will like to reach to a conclusion. So the context of it, please move to the next slide. Okay, US mediatory role in India-Pakistan war ceasefire and India's refusal to acknowledge Trump's role. This is one of the biggest reasons behind the recent development between India and USA. And this was actually exploited or get benefited by Pakistan. So this is very interesting. US tried to perform as not just US, because I have to use categorically Donald Trump instead of using USA, because it was in personal interest or the personal vision of President Trump, because he, right from the beginning of his second presidency, he was actually obsessing to be recalled as one of the problem solvers and one of the saviors of the world. And he really wanted to end the ongoing wars and conflict within the region and outside. Like Trump was once stated that Russia and Ukraine की war तो मैं यूं एक महीने के अंदर खत्म करा सकता हूँ. This was a statement, and right after 7 months of his presidency, he is not succeeded in that. Similarly, there was a statement of him regarding the Israel and Palestine problem. He really wanted to see him as a victor of that situation and really wanted to end or resolve the issue because he believed that because of his personal connections with Netanyahu and the trust they share together. So Trump का एक बहुत बड़ा setback वहाँ पे भी है कि actually he could not get what he wanted from the Netanyahu or from the ongoing situation in Palestine. Luckily, Donald Trump was succeeded in the case of Pakistan and India, very precise war. इसके अंदर Trump को luckily, fortunately, he got an opportunity to intervene. और वो intervene उन्होंने उस वक्त किया जब Pakistan retaliated with utmost force. The Pakistan retaliated किया. Before that, he was not even interested. He was giving statements like, okay, fine, this is their internal matter and they will settle it down. They are always in some kind of conflict. So this is a very usual thing, and he was taking it very casually. But Pakistan Air Force, the way it responded to India's aggression, unprovoked aggression, that made him serious, and that was basically the window of opportunity for Donald Trump, and he intervened on that time. That was a sigh of relief for both sides. Pakistan did a very smart thing, and I really want to appreciate it. So I have been very critical of Pakistani government and the decision makers here, but it was basically the opportunity to bolster or to satisfy the ego of a very different personality, that is Donald Trump. Donald Trump को उनकी जो negotiation या mediation की जो एक effort थी, इसको इन्होंने welcome किया. Not only the Pakistan side, he got the acknowledgement, but also Pakistani Prime Minister took a greater step by suggesting him to grant him with the Nobel Peace Prize for his initiation or for his intervention to establish peace between, or to establish the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Though it is not permanent thing, we are still in a danger of another episode from India's side, and they are already very vocal about that. But still, at that time when the both nuclear power were already engaged in a war, a full-fledged war, on that time Donald Trump actually intervened and tried to mediate, and Zahir he got succeeded in that. So this was one of the first reasons behind the ongoing tension between India and Pakistan, and how Pakistan became the darling, or became the, you can say, the favorite child for this time only. Okay? So we have to have focus on that this is not a permanent thing. It is going to be prolonged. And then the other thing that is one of the contexts is the recent diplomatic and military level engagements between US and Pakistan. Because of the realignment of US interest in South Asia, and especially within the region of Pakistan, there are so many factors behind Donald Trump's own vision or own interest in Pakistan. Here we have to understand two separate things. There used to be a thing which was known as United States foreign policy, and now the situation has been changed to what Trump is basically seeking, what Trump is basically looking for. So there is a very unique kind of a president this time in the White House, who has a very different way of conducting the foreign policy. And that is why we must have to have a focus on it. The personality factor actually is playing a vital role this time. And then US-India trade war initiated in Trump's second administration. That has also become an impetus behind behind the rift between India and USA, and US more inclination towards Pakistan. The tariff hike to 50% on Indian goods, we all are aware of it. We can see it all over in the news and TV and different sources. Previously, is basically 25%, and then within few weeks, it was hiked to the 50%. While Pakistan has a comparatively lower tariff rate, that is 19%, even though I believe that it is still higher. 19% है, लेकिन 19% भी हमें देना है. So this is not something which we have to celebrate for. हमें इसके ऊपर भी मज़ीद diplomatic concessions लेने की ज़रूरत है, और इसके ऊपर हमें हमारी governments को इस पे बात ज़रूर करनी चाहिए, since we are offering too much to USA. So this can be something which we could ask them to lower the tariff rates, because we have a very different industry. We are not a diversified industry. We rely mostly 70% or more than that on textile products. So this hike of 19% would definitely going to affect our already not so very big industry of textile. So हमें इस पे bargain और मज़ीद लेनी पड़ेगी. ये कोई अच्छा rate नहीं है जिसपे हम खुश हों कि भाई हम तो 19% पे हैं, और 50% just equal to Brazil, जो कि ब्राज़ील के ऊपर है 50%, वो अगर पाकिस्तान को पे करना है. So there are few major points. US engagement with Pakistan's military leadership, which is a setback for India. Renewed counter-terrorism cooperation. Very recently, we have seen the US designated BLA and Majid Brigade as the terrorist organization, terrorist outfits. It was again a very comforting thing for Pakistan's security agencies, especially because we were already seeking for such kind of a label from the world, especially for some superpowers, so that we can take a more strong strategy against them. US long-term shared resources interest. This is very important, very pertinent, and some kind of, you can say, a risky thing also, but we have to look in on both sides. Risk भी है इसके अंदर, and there are some prospects as well. And then Trump's impulsive actions and harsh statements. So अगर आप इसको collectively कुछ चीजों को अगर आप dots बना के अगर आप इसको करना चाहो, whatever is going on between India, Pakistan and USA, तो आप इन चार major जो dots हैं इनको connect करोगे, तो you will come to understand कि okay fine, what is basically the problem, and how the problem has developed, and how far it will go. All right, so how world sees the US Pakistan realignment or rapprochement. इसमें तीन चीजें बहुत interesting है. When I was watching different channels and different news channels, especially, so there were, especially in Indian channels, there are they very we can say comically were commenting on it, that okay fine, this is basically about the crypto, flattery, and minerals and mining. So this is basically the crux of what Indian media is actually perceiving it, कि पाकिस्तान के अंदर जो US की crypto investments हैं, Donald Trump की जो personality का एक shade है, he likes flattery, and he absolutely likes it. क्योंकि उन्होंने अपनी किताब भी इस तरह की लिखी हुई है जिसमें उन्होंने अपनी पूरी लीडरशिप को जो है वो ऑनर किया हुआ है. तो दिस इज अ वेरी obvious thing that people talks about and people actually acknowledging it, that this is a president who's actually looking for some ego boosting and ego bolstering as well. And then minerals and mining in the province of Balochistan and Sindh. This is something which is related to the geopolitics, geoeconomics, and strategic strategies as well. So इसको हम थोड़ा सा आगे पढ़ना चाहेंगे. अच्छा, since we have so many students from the background of international relations, I try to link or I try to explain the entire problem into different theoretical lens. क्योंकि आप इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस के अंदर आप बहुत जेनेरिकली चीज़ों को डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते, तो यू हैव टू explain or you have to give a support of any theoretical framework so that your analysis could have some weightage. तो इस पे जो इस पूरी प्रॉब्लम को जिस तरीके से मैं देखती हूँ, and you can also share your own opinion in it if you find some other theory that actually explains it much broader, so you can also share with me and with the rest of the audience. अच्छा, अब इसमें theoretical lens के अंदर जो है, I would like to skip the next slide क्योंकि वो थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा फिर डिटेल में हो जाएगा. तो Miss Anika, if you could go to the neorealism. This is basically one theory that actually explains whatever is going on between India, Pakistan, and between India and USA, Pakistan and USA. So the triangle can be explained through US-Pakistan conflict stems from a stark power imbalance. India far outspaces Pakistan in population, economy, and military strength. Pakistan in security drives its strategic calculus, leading it for bandwagoning with major powers. So this is basically the problem कि Pakistan किसी तरीके से भी compatible नहीं है in terms of its size, in terms of its population, and in terms of its economy. So Pakistan has to bandwagon again and again with some major power just to address to its insecurities. The other point is US rapprochement with Pakistan can be seen as a part of realist balancing act, hedging against India's rising power without abandoning ties with India. This is something which is unique, but which is very torturing as well at the same time, because factually they enjoyed highly cordial relations for last 20 to 25 years. यानी कि अमेरिका के अंदर there was a common perception and common understanding in terms of foreign policy making towards Kashmir issue, towards Pakistan, towards anything that is related to Pakistan. Indian lobby was so used to be very strong and very integrated into the American foreign policy corridors and American policy making corridors basically. अब वो टाइम जहाँ पे आप इंडिया के खिलाफ यूएस के अंदर कोई लॉबिंग करने में कामयाब नहीं हो रहे थे, लेकिन द पर्सन हु इज नाउ सिटिंग इन व्हाइट हाउस, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प, ही इज नॉट एक्चुअली रिलाइंग ऑन हिज एडवाइजर्स. अगर आप उस शख्सियत के इर्द गिर्द के जो एडवाइजर्स देखो, दे आर वेरी लिमिटेड. ही इज नॉट एक्चुअली इन्वॉल्विंग the foreign policy experts and advisors. There are very few faces that you can easily find out. और उनका जब आप बैकग्राउंड आप देखोगे तो you will come to know that they people are more into the direct approach and the very business kind of an approach rather than a pure politician or pure foreign policy maker. So that's the difference कि US के जो पाकिस्तान के साथ alignment है, it is basically more of a realist balancing act against India. इसको एक और तरीके से भी आप देख सकते हो कि इंडिया को एक तरीके से अपने नेक्सस का हिस्सा रखने के लिए USA is actually punishing India by using Pakistan, and it is trying to push India to the wall so that it can have whatever it can achieve, whatever it is basically aiming to. And then realist versus constructivist paradigm as well. आप इसको इस तरीके से भी समझ सकते हो. प्लीज नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, तो आपको उसमें भी समझ आ जाएगा कि हम इसी इश्यू को हम इसको realist के अलावा कंस्ट्रक्टिविस्ट पैराडाइम के अंदर भी समझ सकते हैं. द यूएस इंडिया रिलेशनशिप अलाइंस विद बोथ रियलिस्ट इंटरेस्ट. द वेरी you can say the prominent interest or the pivotal interest of USA in this region, particularly when it is related to India or Pakistan, it is to counter China, the influence of China or the integration of China in this region through its economic ways, diplomatic engagements and all that. And constructivist ideas, basically the shared ideals that India and USA, they both share, that is democracy and the freedom, liberty, and the perceived reliability. In contrast, US-Pakistan की जो partnership है, इसको हम बहुत ही ज़्यादा transactional और बहुत ही ज़्यादा traditional, strategic जो utility है, उसमें देख रहे होते हैं. So there are basically two other different theoretical paradigms in which we can explain and understand the problem of US-Pakistan and US-Pakistan and India realignment. And then balance of power and power transition. I would very quickly go through it because I want to discuss the challenges and opportunities. And then I would like to listen to you people. So the balance of power and power transition into US strategic cooperation further marginalizes Pakistan and shifts regional balances. So this is another way. Ms. Anika, please go to the next slide. Okay. Indo-US strategic cooperation further marginalizes Pakistan and shifts regional balances. अच्छा, अब जो है इसको आप दो तरीके से देख सकते हो, the balance of power approach, the balance of power, the concept of balance of power, and second one is the power transition. Pakistan return or rapprochement with USA may be interpreted as an attempt to readdress its structural vulnerability through external support. So there are two scenarios. Number one, India and US का जो balance of power strategic cooperation build करता है, जो कि पाकिस्तान की already vulnerable जो situation है, इसको और ज़्यादा marginalize करता है. जबकि दूसरी तरफ से पाकिस्तान एंड यूएस की जो रीअलाइनमेंट है, इसको हम इस तरीके से देख सकते हैं कि पाकिस्तान के पास देयर इज ओनली वन ऑप्शन राइट नाउ अकॉर्डिंग टू सो मेनी एनालिस्ट. आई हैव अ डिफरेंट परसेप्शन थो, लेकिन मैं वो चीज एड्रेस इस वक्त फिलहाल करना चाहूंगी एज पर द स्लाइड्स कंटेंट इज कंसर्न, कि जो कि बहुत ज्यादा आप इसको कहते हैं कि रियलिस्टिक या फिर बहुत ज्यादा फैक्चुअली आप इसको फॉलो कर सकते हैं. तो मे बी इंटरप्रेटेड एज एन अटेम्प्ट टू रीएड्रेस इट स्ट्रक्चरल vulnerability through external support. So this is something Pakistan has already or always experienced, and this is not the very first time. If you go through the history, there are multiple episodes of US-Pakistan rapprochement. This is not the very first time, and this is not obviously and certainly the last time as well. So this is something which is a repeated pattern of Pakistan's foreign policy towards USA. Now, I would like to discuss few developments. बिल्कुल recently आप इनको देखो और आप इनको फिर connect कर सकते हो with the ongoing developments. आपको इस वक्त अगर मैं यहाँ पे अपनी talk जो हूँ यहाँ पे hold करके, I would like to take your opinion that how do you see the sudden change in US policy and US behavior, or the Donald Trump's foreign policy towards India. So what kind of a reaction or response you have when you came to know about the certain tariffs hike towards India? आपके माइंड में फौरी तौर पे क्या आया था? क्योंकि इसको हमें एड्रेस करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. The next slides are basically connected with it. So I would like to appreciate if someone would share his or her own opinion or the thought they came in their minds when they first came to know about US 50% tariffs towards Indian goods. And these are almost all kinds of goods. These are not limited to certain industry only. तो इससे इंडिया को काफी ज्यादा नुकसान होना पड़ेगा, because we believe that India is basically the 5th largest economy of the world as per the GDP. But interestingly, US के अंदर इंडिया का जो शेयर है, that is hardly 2%. That India is not actually capturing a big market in America. So in any case, the loss that India is going to bear will be higher than the supposed or the assumed loss USA would be facing. So I would appreciate if someone from the participants, the audience, would give their opinion on it.
Ma'am, may I?
जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, आप सब बात कीजिए.
Ma'am, I think it reflects the Washington's growing frustration with India's trade and foreign policy stance, especially its balancing act with Russia and reluctance to fully align with U.S. strategic goals. And also, I think the tariffs are an economic pressure tool and a signal that India's special treatment has limits.
मैसेज किया आपको ठीक है 3 4 2 3 लाइनें मुझे लिख के दे दो मुझे आपको मैं बोलनी है
Fatma? Acha, there was some overlapping. Hafsa, can you please repeat your point?
Sure, ma'am. I was saying that I think it reflects Washington's growing frustration with India's trade and foreign policy stance, especially its balancing act with Russia and reluctance to fully align with US strategic goals. And also, the tariffs are, in my opinion, the tariffs are both an economic pressure tool and a signal that India's special treatment has some limits.
Very well, very well.
Thank you,
कोई
ma'am.
और भी इसमें अपना कुछ ऐड करना चाहेगा? Because we will try to learn about what Pakistan has done so far, and what is basically the word Hafsa used is frustration, US frustration towards India. It is one of the very valid points क्योंकि
Assalamualaikum everyone.
हाँ जी डॉक्टर समरीन.
Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Samreen. Acha, I just want to add 2-3 points. Number one, there are a few tariffs that are common for every country, right? They have raised metallurgical or I don't know aluminium type industry ke jo tariffs are there common for every country. So actually, America is trying to motivate its own entrepreneur, own business people to establish their industries in their homeland because of joblessness, increasing joblessness throughout the years. This is the major concern for them. They are not only trying their own businessmen to establish their industries there, but they're also saying they're also motivating other industrialists. For example, industrialists in China or in India to shift their production in USA. This is actually the main point. They are not demotivating the entrepreneurs, the industrialists to sell their products to USA, but they want to have the production facilities over there because they are trying to promote what they want their people to take those jobs. This is the point number 2. The point number 3 is that while there were conflicts between Ukraine and Russia, and the conflict is still going on. So what happened that India bought the oil from Russia. Then what they did, they refined that oil and then they transferred that oil. They sell out those oil to the European countries. So they become a mediator in that particular sense. That was also a very irritating factor for America. Then there is another point, that is a complex, or you can say BRICS, because the countries that are in BRICS that have joined BRICS, they are a real threat for USA. So this is also a very important factor. And although India denied that we are not going to introduce a currency or anything like that, but for future, they are assuming them as a threat to their economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sabreen, for all the valid points. And these all points are actually included in our later discussion. But I'm really thankful that you have simplified my job. And I really wanted to have this session a bit engaging. क्योंकि नॉर्मली जिस तरह के सेशंस हम अटेंड करते रहे इनमें ज़्यादातर हम सिर्फ ऑडियंस बनते रहे एंड आई वांट एवरीवन टू बी हर्ड ऑफ. तो अच्छा लगा और आपके पॉइंट्स भी all are actually quite relevant as far as the picture is shown from the Indian side. And my basically the focus initially is about Pakistan, that how Pakistan has suddenly become the eye candy of America. So there are so many different analysis on it, because Pakistan was basically in the corner during the entire Biden's administration, and even in the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, Pakistan was not in the list of important countries. We can observe it from the statements that were initially being given by Donald Trump or his team, the core team that he has beside him. And especially Donald Trump was he basically used to be very critical about the state of human rights in Pakistan. And that was, again, a pressure tactic used by him to pressurize Pakistan, just like it is pressurizing India in a very different context, because the relations that India is actually enjoying with Russia, it is one of the biggest factors behind US being not very happy, or the Donald Trump is not being very happy with Prime Minister Modi. We must remember that Prime Minister Modi was one of the very first presidents, or the head of the states, who went to Washington to congratulate Donald Trump. And surprisingly, Donald Trump did not attend him with respect. We can see so many videos in which we already have seen, but we might not understood on that time कि ये सारा उस वक्त से उनके एक mind के अंदर there was basically a thing he already had, and he, because of his personality, I can say the type, he already had that kind of feeling or that kind of a grudge against Prime Minister Modi. So when we look into a very different context, and as far as the India's side of story is concerned, Donald Trump is basically not engaging or not giving challenge to entire India. He is basically giving a hard time or giving a challenge to Prime Minister Modi, who is already having a very difficult interaction within a difficult time within its own country, because of the recent India-Pakistan war and the way it was ended up because of America's mediation or the America's intervention. Prime Minister Modi did not acknowledge that too, and that has basically aggravated the anger or the disgust that Donald Trump already had towards Prime Minister Modi. So these are basically the number of factors which were already there, but that they were aggravated or multiplied because of these tiny issues, maybe because in international relations or in the politics of that stature, we do not expect the personality grudges or the personality flaws or the personality shades may contribute this much, because in America is not an autocracy. America is basically the democracy which has its own standing in the world because of the people's opinions, the public opinions, the incorporation of public opinion. And suddenly you would see that the decision or the presidential orders are taking in a very different light. So these are the things which are equally problematic, not for the India or any country, because Pakistan must not be so much happy of whatever it's going on between India and USA, because it can be happen with Pakistan as well, just because of that impulsive personality. So this is basically a problem for the entire world and even for the people of America, because they are not used to of this kind of unstable and this kind of very impulsive kind of a policy shifts towards one day you have some nation or some country as the best strategic partner, and other day you would call him that, okay, fine, who are you? So this is basically the thing which has to be considered and which has to be studied very deeply, because in the recent times there is no such example as far as the Donald Trump's case is concerned. Despite of all the rigidness, despite of all the you can say the stubbornness of Netanyahu, you will find him consistent with his policies and with his actions towards Palestine and towards other nations. But Donald Trump basically lacks that kind of a personality and that kind of consistency, and that is why he is very hard to predict. And because of this capability of shattering and shocking international politics, this has become almost impossible to come to a single conclusion or come to a single opinion. Okay, fine. Because of this particular or these 2, 3, 4, 5 particular reasons, basically Trump is actually taken or is taking or has taken the steps. Okay, so there are a few developments that I wanted to discuss that basically terrified Indian side, because when you watch the news and you watch the analysis going on India TV channels, and even those Indians who are not working in local channels or local media outlets, even though they are working with some international media outlets, they are still not so happy with whatever is going between India and USA. And it is actually the time, it's a very short window of opportunity that is open for Pakistan, and Pakistan actually is succeeding in getting most of the benefit out from this situation in this very short span of time. हमारे पास बहुत ज़्यादा time नहीं है, हमेशा की तरह we have been provided a very limited window जिसमें हम जो भी अपनी deal या bargain set कर सकते हैं वो हम कर रहे हैं, वो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So there are high level visits and diplomatic momentum. Despite of all the political pressure within Pakistan, General Asim Munir and the political leadership in Pakistan has successfully gained the confidence of Donald Trump because of multiple reasons. It's not because they are credible in the eyes of USA or in the eyes of Donald Trump or his team. It's because of what they are offering to USA. And being basically the one who is calling the shots, USA is in a position to gain or to get maximum out from this ongoing situation, जिसमें वो best bargain कर सकते हैं for अपने objectives के लिए. So the high level visits, ये जो diplomatic engagement हुई है between Pakistan and USA, it is one of the most you can say the worrisome thing for India, and it is affecting the trust. It is affecting the level of engagement between India, Pakistan, India and USA. Though India has tried 5 times to engage USA during this whole time of tariffs hike and all that, but still it not succeeded. So there is some serious blockade between India and USA, and that is basically the time, which is the time of strategic autonomy, in which Pakistan is actually enjoying its achievements, and Pakistan is actually getting or try to get what it can get within very brief time of period. And then there is India's strategic setback के अंदर जो हम कुछ चीजें discuss करना चाहते हैं. Reasons have been discussed by Dr. Samreen and Ms. Hafsa, but the setback that India is basically facing, it is number one. जो सबसे important चीज है that I really wanted to mention here is कि इंडिया का जो 25 years का एक बहुत ही happy romance or happy or very powerful, very reliable, very well tested जो relation था, that is no more. That is no more intact. So this is one of the biggest challenge for Indian foreign policy makers, for Indian politicians, leadership, and for Indian people as well to regain, because this was something which was not even in their close to their imagination. और जब उन्होंने ये इंडिया पाकिस्तान की वॉर के दौरान जिस तरीके से इंडिया को ओवरनाइट, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प को ओवरनाइट अपना स्टेटमेंट चेंज करके इन्वॉल्व होके पाकिस्तान को सीज फायर की तरफ ला के एंड देन कंग्रेचुलेट करते हुए जो एक पूरा फेस था, दैट वाज क्वाइट अननोइंग फॉर देम एंड दे वर नॉट इवन एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट. So this was not only the end of a prolonged, very stable, very consistent relation between India and USA. So that was one of the major setbacks that India is now facing, and they are trying to assess it, trying to even digest it. If we find this was actually happened with them, and then perceived reduction in India's leverage as Washington rebalances regional ties. Washington क्या चाह रहे हैं इस वक्त, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प इस वक्त क्या चाह रहे हैं, दैट इज बेसिकली मच इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट व्हाट इंडिया इज एक्चुअली लुकिंग फॉर. वेल, बहुत ही अगर आप इसको सामने एक मैप रख लो, साउथ एशिया का, और स्मैक के साथ आप सेंट्रल एशिया को भी कैटर कर लो, रशिया को भी कैटर कर लो, चाइना को भी साथ अगर आप पूरा देखना चाह रहे हो तो आप इजीली इस चीज को एनालाइज कर सकते हो कि बिकॉज वंस अगेन बिकॉज ऑफ पाकिस्तान जियोपॉलिटिकल positioning, geopolitical location, Pakistan, geostrategic location is basically Pakistan is once again in the same position in which Pakistan has to give maximum bargaining, maximum offers to the superpower, which already have decided to once again step into the country. अब इसमें पाकिस्तान के लिए there are very tough choices जिसको हमने आगे challenges for पाकिस्तान के लिए किया है. मिस अलीका, if you want to if you please go forward, तो हम इसको देख सकते हैं कि पाकिस्तान के लिए इस वक्त सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या होगा. यूएस एंड चाइना के रिलेशंस को बैलेंस करना, ऑयल डेवलपमेंट डील जो हुई है बिल्कुल रिसेंटली, जिसमें प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने बहुत ही जबरदस्त चीज अनाउंस की है कि इंडिया विल बाय ऑयल फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान. तो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी एंड दिस हैज ऑलरेडी बिग शॉकर फॉर अस एज वेल कि एक टाइम ऐसा आएगा कि इंडिया जो है वो पाकिस्तान से ऑयल खरीद रहा होगा, क्योंकि इंडिया जो है वो ऑलरेडी प्लान कर चुका है कि वो ईरान से इफ नॉट फ्रॉम रशिया, from which it is already buying almost 70% of or maybe more than that oil for its industrial usage. So जो raw oil वो रशिया से खरीद रहा है. So India has already the second option in the form of Iran. लेकिन डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने उनको ये बताया है कि भाई जब हम यहाँ आएंगे और हम यहाँ पे अपनी ऑयल डेवलपमेंट डील के जरिए यहाँ पे ऑयल एक्सट्रैक्ट करेंगे जो सिंध या बलूचिस्तान में है, तो एक्चुअली इंडिया उसको खरीद रहा होगा. तो ये चीज ऐसी है कि जो इंडिया के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा समझे कि बहुत बड़ा एक चैलेंज हो गया है कि इंडिया की जो सुप्रीमेसी है रीजनल, उसको पाकिस्तान को चैलेंज करनी नहीं पड़ रही, लेकिन पाकिस्तान की तरफ से डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जो है उसको चैलेंज कर रहे हैं. And then resource interest and economic opportunities में mining project है, everybody is talking about it. There are lots of insecurities related to this. I personally believe that this is going to be a very challenging decision for Pakistani government and Pakistani security agencies and Pakistan's establishment as well. And more importantly, for the people of Balochistan and Sindh के जहाँ से ये सारी mining projects जो है यहाँ पे function कर रहे होंगे, तो this is going to be a very hard deal for Pakistan. But on the other side, those who are actually looking for the brighter side of this deal, that okay, Pakistan might be successful in extracting those minerals, those oil reserves जो कि आज तक हमने कभी हासिल नहीं किए, लेकिन maybe this time we will be succeeded, और इसके बाद जो है economic development होगी और हर तरफ खुशहाली ही खुशहाली होगी. तो ये this is basically not only a challenge, this may be an option as well. And then there is another challenge, managing US pressure on governance and human rights. जहाँ USA होगा, this is the next slide, Miss Anika. तो जहाँ USA अगर physically this is the previous one, I think. Challenges for Pakistan. इसके बाद
Okay. This is the next slide.
no. Security in resource rich but unstable areas.
I think it's not there.
अच्छा.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
okay. Balancing this. इसके बाद ही
Next.
yeah.
Is it?
Yes, this is.
Got it.
Okay. So security in resource rich but unstable areas. This is the same thing which I was already discussing. The US interest in oil and minerals is concentrated in politically sensitive areas like Balochistan. So this is one of the biggest challenges for Pakistan and Pakistan security authorities. Or any mishandling could trigger nationalist backlash or militant attacks. ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा ऐसी चीजें हैं जो कि understood है, but there are challenges for the neighboring countries as well, or from the neighboring countries like Afghanistan and Iran. So this is one of the opportunity that is more challenging rather than more blissful. Then options क्या है? Strengthen joint counter-terrorism intelligence sharing with USA. US already started working on it by designating BLA as a terrorist outfit, और उसके बाद USA ने अपना ground और मजीद intact किया है in this regard, that it is actually once again stepping into onto the soil of Pakistan, and then ensure local community benefit sharing agreements and mining energy deals to reduce resentment. ये करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि already जो locals हैं, they are already not much happy with the CPEC projects and the deals that Pakistani government or the Pakistani establishment has made with China. अब एक और स्टेक होल्डर होगा, उन्हीं की जमीन के ऊपर, वही उनके रिसोर्सेज के ऊपर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हो रही होंगी और एक्सट्रैक्शन हो रही होगी. So the concerns and the you may say it, the resentment from the locals would be there are chance that it would become higher and higher. तो इसको किस तरीके से इंश्योर करना है कि आप लोकल जो कम्युनिटी है इसको भी इस पूरे जो डेवलपमेंट के प्रोसेस है और ये पूरे एक्सट्रैक्शन का प्रोसेस है इसके अंदर उनको किस तरीके से involve किया जाए, so that they may have a certain level of trust towards not only their governments, which they already don't have, and from the people, or from the investors, or from the construction companies from the western side and from the Chinese side. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा एक कॉम्प्लेक्स चैलेंज पाकिस्तान के लिए बनने जा रहा है, जिसको हम बहुत ज्यादा सेलिब्रेट करने के बाद जब एक मिनट के लिए सोचते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि it is going to be a big deal for Pakistan. And then challenges in managing US pressure on governance and human rights. This is in the next slide. And we already know that how US has already have a history of intervening into Pakistan's internal matters whenever it feels convenient, and whenever it feels it relevant for its own foreign policy goals or for its geostrategic goals. The way it has already done in so many different countries, like in Middle East, like in Gulf countries, like in Iran, and obviously in Afghanistan. तो पाकिस्तान के लिए भी बहुत प्रॉब्लम होगा कि ह्यूमन राइट्स की जो एक बहुत बड़ा एक क्राइसिस है पाकिस्तान के अंदर, which is true and which we can experience as well. But this can be used again against Pakistan if Pakistan would have any kind of resistance or any kind of back off from its commitment for US interest, for fulfilling US interest in this in its soil. So failure to address this concern could be used as a leverage in future negotiations. So इसको पाकिस्तान की गवर्नमेंट को बहुत स्मार्टली बहुत ज्यादा माइन्यूटली देखना पड़ेगा कि पाकिस्तान को जो गवर्नेंस के मैटर्स हैं, ह्यूमन राइट्स के इश्यूज हैं, इनके ऊपर एक तरीके से अपनी पॉलिसी या जो अपना प्लान ऑफ एक्शन है इसको बिल्कुल रीशेप या रीवैम्प करना पड़ जाएगा. तो ऑप्शंस क्या हैं? इंक्रीमेंटल रिफॉर्म्स, which I believe that it might become beneficial for Pakistan, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में already there is a dire need of transformation and incremental reforms in the fields of judiciary and electoral process or human rights and all that. So Pakistan ke liye maybe it may become a good opportunity to correct or to reform its systems. And then launch proactive public diplomacy in Washington to present. अच्छा, पाकिस्तान के पास एक बहुत बड़ी opportunity इसका ये भी है कि within a very limited time period जिसमें हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा bargain करने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं कि पाकिस्तान must extend its diplomatic engagements on the level of public diplomacy, क्योंकि public diplomacy is a very neglected part of Pakistan's overall diplomacy or diplomatic history. तो इसके ऊपर काम करने का एक बहुत सही टाइम इस वक्त आ गया है कि पाकिस्तान को इस पे उतनी ही डेडिकेशन के साथ और डेलिब्रेट होकर काम करना है, the way India has already done. So the level or the weightage of Indians, Indian diaspora, Indians, corporate officials, and Indian media and Indian personals, वॉशिंगटन के ऊपर जिस तरीके से रहा है पाकिस्तान को, उसको इसी डायरेक्शन के अंदर बिल्ड करने की जरूरत है. पाकिस्तान इस पे कितना प्रोएक्टिवली काम कर सकता है, दिस इज अनदर चैलेंज, बट दिस इज समथिंग विच पाकिस्तान हैज टू डू एंड वेरी क्विकली. अच्छा, अब इसके बाद हमारे पास जो इसका एक लास्ट चैलेंज जो मुझे फील होता है, एंड यू कैन शेयर अदर चैलेंजेस टू, कि पाकिस्तान और यूएस की जो रेप्रोचमेंट है, द रीअलाइनमेंट है, देता का जो एक प्रोसेस इस वक्त चल रहा है, इसमें और कौन से चैलेंजेस हो सकते हैं. वी कैन डिस्कस दोज एज वेल. आई वुड लाइक टू लिसन फ्रॉम यू एज वेल. लेकिन स्ट्रेटेजिक रेलेवेंस इन यूएस इंडो पैसिफिक कैलकुलस, अब इसमें तमाम इस पूरी इक्वेशन के अंदर जो एक और बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज यही है कि यूएस इंटरेस्ट इन पाकिस्तान may be partly transactional, linked to countering China and accessing resources. So we can assume that the US interest in Pakistan is because of countering China and observing China and keeping an eye on China and its developmental role in Pakistan and beyond it. इसी तरीके से इंडिया के साथ उसके जो एक बहुत बड़ा हमेशा एक बहुत बड़ा उसका एक वेटेज रहा है रिलेशंस का, उसको भी पाकिस्तान के अंदर मौजूद होते हुए किस तरीके से बैलेंस करना है. तो दिस कैन be a bit challenging or problematic for Pakistan, because Pakistan has to keep an eye on Indian side as well, whatever is going between USA and India. अच्छा, इसमें थोड़ी सी सोच ही आती है कि why we are considering that the presence of US mining companies or maybe the oil extract companies, just like they are the part of the government. तो हमें इसको समझना पड़ेगा कि इंडिया हैज बेसिकली यूएसए हैज बेसिकली अ वेरी डिफरेंट फॉर्मेशन ऑफ इट्स ओवरऑल पॉलिटिकल फॉर्मेशन. वो किस तरीके से है, बिकॉज देयर इज अ ह्यूज रोल, देयर इज अ वेरी obvious role of American multinational corporations, American businessmen, and Americans corporate sector in the foreign policy of America. So the change that you can see right now from India to Pakistan, it is basically, it cannot be separated from whatever is basically in the minds of the corporate owners. They have their own objectives, and Trump being the part of the business community and being a part of the business tycoons, he actually understands the need and the involvement of those corporate sectors into the foreign policy objectives. So उसको आप बिल्कुल डिटैच नहीं कर सकते हो कि आप यहाँ पे कंपनीज को इतना शायद empowered नहीं देखोगे. I could imagine the influence of US government officials as well, while they may be working as a part of the construction or the mining companies. अच्छा, US interest in Pakistan may be partly transactional. We have already discussed it. अब options क्या है? Impact Pakistan's value in US strategic thinking beyond security. तो पाकिस्तान को सबसे पहले जो जरूरत है, that is to get rid of its traditional role or traditional identity of being a security fortress for USA. सबसे पहले तो एक सिक्योरिटी और स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर से बढ़ के पाकिस्तान को अपना रोल को चेंज करना पड़ेगा. वो कैसे कर सकते हैं कि पाकिस्तान इन अमेरिका में कोऑपरेट में कोलैबोरेट इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्लाइमेट कोऑपरेशन, आईटी एक्सपोर्ट्स, एग्रीकल्चर, जो कि हम जिस पे बहुत काम कर सकते हैं मिलके. और इससे ज्यादा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट ये कि इस वक्त पाकिस्तान का जो डायस्पोरा है यूएसए के अंदर, दैट इज टोटली not that aligned with the objectives of Pakistan's foreign policy goals or ambitions in USA. तो इस वक्त जो पाकिस्तान के पास ऑप्शंस हैं वो यही है कि किसी तरीके से सिक्योरिटी के इस पूरे जो एक वर्लपूल है इसमें से निकले और अपने आप को डाइवर्सिफाइड फील्ड के अंदर इंगेज करे, सेक्टर्स के अंदर इंगेज करे. दिस इज बेसिकली द चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया एज वेल, बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स not so very diversified industry. India has gotten into the trap कि जो एक टैरिफ साइज है उसको प्रॉब्लम इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि उसके पास भी कोई मल्टी डाइवर्सिफाइड जो इंडस्ट्री मौजूद नहीं है. तो दिस इज बेसिकली द रीजन दैट इट इज सीरियसली इन अ ट्रबल. अच्छा, institutionalize annual US Pakistan strategic dialogues to prevent ties from being personality driven. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि इसको विदाउट एनी चेंज ऑफ गवर्नमेंट और चेंज ऑफ लीडरशिप इसको कंटिन्यू करना पड़ेगा. पाकिस्तान को इसको ज्यादा फॉलो करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज ऑफ देयर इज अ एब्सोल्यूट नीड फॉर इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइजेशन विद इन पाकिस्तान. जो भी हमारे इंडिया यूएस एंड पाकिस्तान के स्ट्रेटेजिक डायलॉग्स हो उनको थ्रू इंस्टीट्यूशंस होना चाहिए, थ्रू डिफरेंट पर्सनैलिटीज नहीं होना चाहिए. दैट इज वाई देयर इज अ ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट among the Pakistani government or Pakistani leadership and people. Whenever there are some engagement and there are some news between US officials and Pakistani officials, there is always a chaos. There are always much noise about what is going to be happen between US and Pakistan. Maybe they have sold out our land or all that. तो वो सिर्फ इसी वजह से होता है कि there are few personalities who would go to USA, who would make their decisions and would come back with some news कि okay हम ये करके आ चुके हैं. So this is something which is not appropriate being a part of a democracy, क्योंकि ये दोनों तरफ से यूएसए को भी इसको देखना पड़ेगा. The way Trump is conducting his presidency, it is also very different and it is also very unacceptable for the people of USA as well, क्योंकि वो जिस तरीके से डेमोक्रेटिक लीडरशिप को असाइड करके और वो मिलिट्री लीडरशिप के साथ इंगेज होते हैं, वो भी चंद पर्सनैलिटीज के साथ एंड वेरी क्लोज ऑफ मीटिंग्स में, तो ये एक ऐसी चीज है कि जो कि ट्रम्प के लिए भी लॉन्ग टर्म में एक बहुत अच्छी जो है वो उनका एक बहुत अच्छा इस पे मेरा नहीं ख्याल कि इंप्रेशन होगा। ठीक है, अच्छा देयर आर फ्यू मोर 3 मोर स्लाइड्स, उसके बाद फिर हम डिस्कशन पे आ जाएंगे। तो मैंने एक नेक्स्ट स्लाइड जो है इट इज अबाउट द स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑप्शंस एंड अपॉर्चुनिटीज not just for India, USA and Pakistan, but for Russia, China, and I wanted to discuss Iran as well, लेकिन मैंने शायद उसको यहाँ पे मिस किया है। तो हम इसको थोड़ा क्विकली देख लेते हैं कि एक्चुअली यूएस क्या चाह रहा है। यूएस चाह रहा है लेवरेज पाकिस्तान रिसोर्स फॉर जियोपॉलिटिकल गेन, recalibrate engagement with India to prevent over dependence, balanced realist and constructivist principles। तो हमें ये समझना होगा कि यूएस बेसिकली किस तरीके से वो बार्गेन करने की कोशिश कर रहा है इस वक्त। तो इस वक्त वो 2 डिफरेंट जो पैराडाइम्स है उनके साथ उनको, हालांकि हम रिसर्च में समझते हैं कि 2 बहुत ही डिफरेंट जो पैराडाइम्स होते हैं, थ्योरेटिकल लेंस होते हैं, उनके साथ आप एक सिचुएशन को डील नहीं कर सकते, उसको एनालाइज नहीं कर सकते, बट यूएसए और डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प इज एक्चुअली डूइंग इट। तो एक तरफ वो जो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो रहा है, जो चेंज आ रहा है विद इन द वैल्यूज, विद इन द आइडेंटिटी, विद इन द ऑलरेडी कंस्ट्रक्टेड ट्रस्ट और द फीलिंग्स और द एफिलिएशन, इसके अंदर आ रहा है। तो दूसरी तरफ जो वो एब्सोल्यूट पावर प्ले भी है। So these 2 very different actually theoretical frameworks can be applied when we try to understand what US policy is towards and how it is basically working towards or against Pakistan and India. And then there is Pakistan use renewed engagement with USA to augment strategic depth. There is nothing new when in terms of strategic डेप्थ एंड स्ट्रेटेजिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज इज कंसर्न। पाकिस्तान हमेशा इसी पे बात करता हुआ है। डाइवर्सिटी पाकिस्तान के पास अलायंस में भी बहुत लिमिटेड रही है। बाय द वे देयर इज अनदर रीजन बिहाइंड यूएस अग्रेशन और यूएस annoyance against India is because India is actually talking and practicing multipolarity, while Pakistan is again stuck to its the concept of surrendering maybe or to going down to the supremacy of USA। तो पाकिस्तान की जो establishment है वो इसी तरीके से देखती है कि maybe हमारे लिए जो best opportunity it is to get aligned with the US as best and trusted strategic partner। थोड़ी देर के लिए हम बहुत खुश भी हो जाते हैं, लेकिन उसके बाद लॉन्ग टर्म में हमारा बिल्कुल एक अलग इसका एक कंक्लूजन होता है। बट एनीवे दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच इज इन आवर मे बी डेस्टिनी। तो अब इसको हम चेंज अभी तक नहीं कर पाए हैं। तो इंश्योर ट्रांसपेरेंसी, स्टेबिलिटी टू गेन लेजिटिमेसी, दिस इज द चैलेंज बिकॉज, और अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान के लिए कि पाकिस्तान किस तरह से यूएस के साथ, देखिए यूएस और अमेरिका के रिलेशंस के बावजूद देयर इज very you can say acute lack of transparency and stability, whatever has been decided or planned between the 2 countries, वो ज्यादातर जो पब्लिक ओपिनियन या फिर जो गवर्नमेंटल लेवल के ऊपर नहीं हो रहा है। तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द चैलेंज एंड इट कैन टर्न इनटू अपॉर्चुनिटी इफ पाकिस्तान इज गोइंग टू वर्क ऑन इट। नाउ इंडिया reinforce strategic autonomy, seek economic insulation and alternative partnerships, deepen ties with Quad and other democratic partners। इंडिया को इस वक्त मेरे ख्याल से डरने की बिल्कुल भी जरूरत नहीं है। India is a big nation, India is a big economy, India has to and he must have to find out multiple new partners, collaborators within the region, outside region। तो इंडिया के पास ऑप्शन ज्यादा हैं। तो इंडिया का जो एक attitude hai towards USA, it is very different. It is not apologetic. You can easily observe it. And then there is Russia. So Russia monitors shifting alignments. Russia क्या कर रहा है? Russia इस वक्त बहुत खामोशी से चाइना की तरह खामोश, बिल्कुल एक silent observer। Potential to strengthen South Asian engagement or offer Indian alternatives amid US tensions। So Russia is basically in the form of engagement. It is still engaged diplomatically with India, और इसके साथ साथ वो साइलेंटली इस चीज को भी ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है कि हाउ फार दिस वॉर और फार दिस रिफ्ट विल गो। फिर उसके बाद रशिया जो है अपने कार्ड्स जो है वो ऑब्वियसली इसको शो करेगा। एंड देन चाइना कैपिटलाइज ऑन यूएस इंडिया रिफ्ट टू बोस्टर इट्स पाकिस्तान टाइज। देखो चाइना के लिए भी देयर इज अ वेरी tricky situation because of the presence of US companies in Balochistan and Sindh, where CPEC and the Gwadar port is basically present. तो इसलिए चाइना के लिए भी एक बड़ा मुश्किल है. तो चाइना के लिए भी एक अपॉर्चुनिटी तो है कि it might build positive relations with USA to avoid any direct confrontation, which is basically the part of its policy or the golden rule of Chinese foreign policy. तो मुझे ऐसे ही लगता है कि ये इस तरीके से इसको बजाय कन्फ्रंटेशन की तरफ जाने के कि यूएस वहाँ मौजूद है तो हम कन्फ्रंट करें, they will go for the collaboration and deepen influence in South Asia through infrastructure and diplomatic support. तो चाइना अपनी जो already existing policy है इसके ऊपर चलता रहेगा, because China is important not for Pakistan, it is equally important for India. तो इसकी वजह से चाइना is in a very good position कि जहाँ पे वो अपनी जो already existing policy है उसके साथ ही कंटिन्यू कर सकता है. ऑप्शंस क्या है इंडिया के लिए? यूएन जनरल असेंबली, द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, कि अभी अपकमिंग जनरल असेंबली का इजलास होने जा रहा है इन सितंबर 2025. तो यहाँ पे एक बहुत अच्छा चांस ये होगा, और मे बी देयर विल बी सम चेंज ऑफ माइंड ऑफ डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प, कि जब तक वो कुछ और सोच सके हो, कुछ और वो एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर दे सके हो, कुछ और चेंज आ चुका हो, हम इसको बहुत ज़्यादा अभी सर्टन होके या बहुत ज़्यादा श्योरली नहीं कह सकते. लेकिन मोदी इज एक्चुअली गिविंग इट अ टाइम as per the advices of few very mature analysts in India, जो ये कह रहे हैं कि इतनी impulsive personality को जवाब फौरी तौर पे नहीं देना चाहिए, क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता होता कि अगली सुबह उठ के वो क्या फैसला कर सकते हैं. तो India is basically engaging, it is holding back and it is waiting for the UN General Assembly's मीटिंग, जहाँ पे डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प के साथ प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी की एक मुलाकात होगी, और फिर वहाँ पे डिफरेंट ऑप्शंस के ऊपर बात कर सकते हैं, जहाँ पे कोई इसका एक नया रास्ता जो है वो निकल सकता है. इंडिया स्ट्रेटेजी में है जो बैलेंसिंग कंसेशंस विद रेजिलियंस, प्रायोरिटाइजिंग ट्रेड डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, ये इंडिया के लिए एक बहुत अच्छा सबक है. ये जो टाइम है इसमें बहुत सारे इंडियन एनालिस्ट ये समझते हैं कि इंडिया को अपनी जो प्रोडक्ट्स की डाइवर्सिफिकेशन है इसकी तरफ जाना पड़ेगा. हालांकि इंडिया के अंदर जो इंडिजिनस इंडस्ट्री है, दैट इज मोर देन 80% इज इंडिजिनस इंडस्ट्री, लेकिन उसके बाद इंडिया की जो प्रोडक्ट्स है दे आर नॉट इंटरनेशनली प्रेजेंट और कंपैटिबल. तो दिस इज द चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया एंड मे बी एन अपॉर्चुनिटी एज वेल, कि इस टाइम के ऊपर इंडिया ना सिर्फ अपनी डिफेंस प्रोडक्ट्स के ऊपर बल्कि अपनी एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्ट्स और अपनी बाकी तमाम हर तरह के प्रोडक्ट्स को इंटरनेशनल लेवल के ऊपर लेकर आके फिर जब तक, यानी ये वही वाला पूरा एक सेटअप होगा जो कि यूरोप ने बिल्ड किया हुआ है और यूएसए ने बिल्ड किया हुआ है. चाइना इसका एक एग्जांपल है कि जो अपनी प्रोडक्ट्स को दुनिया भर के अंदर जो है वो बाकायदा मार्केट करते हैं. तो दिस इज द चैलेंज दैट इज बेसिकली द चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान एज वेल, कि हमारे पास क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट डाइवर्सिफिकेशन नहीं है, इंडिजिनस प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं होती, हमारे पास बहुत लिमिटेड है दुनिया को ऑफर करने के लिए. तो वी आर vulnerable whenever it comes to the trade war is happening. अच्छा, and then key domestic sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, इसके अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा revamping की ज़रूरत है. And finally the conclusion, the last slide, the evolving US-Pakistan rapprochement amid strained US-India relations illustrates its complex interplay between neorealism, यानी power competition है, constructivism यानी norms and identities का basically ये एक clash है, या इनका एक collapse भी देख सकते हो. And its strategic autonomy, each actor has craved out niche strategies. अब इनके niche strategies कौन सी है? US is balancing short and long term interest. तो यूएस के जो शॉर्ट एंड लॉन्ग टर्म इंटरेस्ट है इसको डिसाइड करने के लिए यूएस खुद ये फैसला कर रहा है कि विच ऑफ द इंटरेस्ट आर लॉन्ग टर्म एंड विच ऑफ द इंटरेस्ट आर विल कैरिंग ऑन for the longer time. Pakistan is leveraging new opportunities to offset its structural weakness. This is a very short-lived kind of interest. Pakistan को इसको extend करना पड़ेगा. सिर्फ ये एक leverage लेना जो है पाकिस्तान के लिए for the time being, it's not sufficient. If Pakistan really wants to achieve bigger objectives, rather than just relying on US support and its presence and its strategic support within the region to counter or to face its vulnerability against India, ये काफी नहीं है, because Pakistan will again fall into the same trap of relying on the superpower and then it will get another victim of the superpower rivalry. And then India asserts sovereignty amid challenges to its economic and strategic trajectory, जो कि हम already discuss कर चुके हैं. इंडिया इस वक्त अपनी sovereignty को assert करने के पूरे मूड में है, which is commendable. पाकिस्तान को इसी तरीके से इसी अप्रोच को पाकिस्तान को बार बार फॉलो करने की हम चाहते हैं कि पाकिस्तान ऐसा करे, लेकिन इंडिया इज बेसिकली ट्राइंग टू assert itself by not going down into the pressure that has been created unduly by Donald Trump. And then Russia and China are calibrating moves to exploit openings. So Russia and China का इस वक्त वही एक रोल है जो कि किसी भी बड़ी पावर को हो सकता है इस वक्त, जो कि बहुत मेच्योर हो, जो कि कंसिस्टेंट एंड कोल्ड प्ले खेलने पे एक बिलीव करती हो. तो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट द rapprochement of USA and Pakistan, and how it affects Pakistan's and US relations with India, and into the larger context, how it will further affect USA and China relations. And even you can discuss Iran as well, if somebody wants to discuss what could be the role of Iran in this entire phenomenon. Thank you very much, Ms. Sarika.
As promised at the start, now it's your time to speak. We invite participants to take the mic and share their reflections, viewpoints, and ideas in the light of today's topic. We believe these voices, your voices, are the heart of both the VOW Pakistan and CAP.
I just want to say something. Dr. Sidra Ahmed, what a wonderful job you've done. Very beautifully, you have explained each and every concept, and I thoroughly enjoyed each and every word and each and every, the way you were explaining the whole scenario. I just want to add a few points that, yes, you're right that the situation is very tough. It's, carved in such a way that you cannot say that which country will take what strategy in future. But I just want to mention that India and USA are still, they're aligned. They are having a nuclear deal with them, arms deal with each other. So India cannot, it is not in a position to have a very strong stance against US. The other point is that um, Pakistan is actually in a state of confusion what to do, whether to take part, whether to align itself with China or to align itself with US. Because throughout the history we have considered and we have noticed, and it's a part of, you can say, the past overall experience, that Pakistan's foreign policy is not very dynamic, because they usually take one stance. They should learn something from India, because India is, there are around, I guess, more than 6,000 MNCs in India. And why the Western countries were, taking interest in you know, finishing the war, because of those 6,000, MNCs as well. The Tesla is going to have its production site in India, and India denied BYD. That is again a very big automobile industry by China, because they were trying to launch their production plant over there. So the thing is, in US is trying to again make partnership with Pakistan, just to exploit China and India, so that India can once again take part with US. And this is the whole scenario. India is very much important for them, for China, as well as for US. And at this point, this is very much important for Pakistan to play its cards wisely. And Dr. Sidra has explained these points, in a very beautiful manner. And I'm really grateful to Miss Anika Maiman for arranging this whole webinar. And we all, I guess, enjoyed it thoroughly.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Sidra, for such a wonderful discussion. And congratulations to Ms. Anika for relaunch of VOW Pakistan. This is such an inspiring initiative, and I am truly excited to see the positive impact it will create. और आपने आज जिस दिन का इंतखाब किया है 14th अगस्त का, it's wonderful. At CAP, we truly admire your vision and would love to explore ways to work together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatma. Thank you.
Very much.
I think Mariam Rahman in the chat box, she's saying she would like to contribute. Yes, Mariam.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Sidra, for such an informative session. I really enjoyed it and it cleared up a lot of things. I have two questions, but before that, I'd like to just give a context of the background that I'm coming from. I read recently 3 articles in the Foreign Affairs magazine. One of them was that South Asia is finally starting to choose. It was written by 2 Singaporean professors, and they were saying that between the US and China nexus, the South Asian countries are unknowingly tilting towards China because they're seeing that the recent rise of Trump administration and everything is trying to bully other countries to pursue its favor. Even though the US foreign policy was always very selfish, but it was not overtly so. Now, Donald Trump era, he's like carrying a big stick. The Roosevelt big stick diplomacy is no longer with soft words. He's using very harsh words as well as the big stick. So, firstly, that article. The second article was by renowned political scientists Kiwahane and Nae. It was the end of American century. So they were basically highlighting how the new era is an era where the US foreign policy is not really going to be beneficial for the countries who are pursuing multipolarity. This is contributed by the rise of BRICS and SEO and other such organizations. And lastly, there was an article called that America is a dispensable nation, which means that it is not as much important as it is believing itself to be. And countries such as India and China are really trying to overcome their dependency on the US markets and the US, what do you say, hegemony.
Actually, Ms. Farim, I just want to intervene because the names of the authors that you have mentioned are all those authors. For example, Jane I and Robert Huen. They basically they've throughout after World War II, they were emphasizing US to adopt the policies of soft power. And what is soft power? To encroach the ideas to encroach the minds of the people who are living in peripheries and semi-peripheries, right? So now whatever the stance Trump is taking by initiating tariff war, they are actually against to this particular I must say जो भी उसका जो plan है. So that is why they are writing these articles and they are totally disagreeing. They are assuming that in future America will lose its hegemony. This is actually the crux of these articles. Dr. Sidra, would you like to add something?
This is very interesting discussion, and it is basically serving the objective or the idea that we had, I and Anika had, कि हमें कोई ऐसे regular kind of webinar नहीं करना, इनमें से speaker would be keep on speaking और बाकी सब सुन रहे होंगे, बल्कि अच्छा हुआ कि diverse opinions हमें इसमें मिले. And this is one of the blessings of the discipline of international relations and the global politics, इसमें आप कोई चीज बिल्कुल एब्सोल्यूट नहीं जो है वो फाइंड कर सकते. दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम कि आइडियाज बहुत फ्लूड होते हैं और जिस तरीके से जो ग्लोबल डेवलपमेंट्स होती हैं, जो कि सर्कमस्टांशियल चेंजेस होते हैं, उसकी बेसिस के ऊपर आप कोई बहुत चीज एक सिंपल बॉक्स के अंदर कन्फाइन करके आप कह नहीं सकते. आपका एनालिसिस मस्ट बी मल्टी डायमेंशनल, ताकि आप एक प्रॉब्लम को डिफरेंटली देख सके एंड उसको फिर अकॉर्डिंगली जो भी आपका अपना एक पर्सपेक्टिव है उसके मुताबिक आप इसको उसको एनालाइज भी कर सके या उसके अगेंस्ट कोई पॉलिसी बना सके. तो जो अगर हम इसको सॉफ्ट पावर वाली साइड से देखें या इसको हार्ड पावर या रियलिज्म या न्यू रियलिज्म के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें, इन एनी केस बेसिकली दिस इज द मैटर ऑफ सर्वाइवल. चाहे आप अपना सॉफ्ट इमेज के थ्रू अपनी जो एक सुप्रीमेसी है, देखिए ये ग्रैंडर है, इसको एंजॉय करता रहा यूएसए. एंड देयर वाज लॉट ऑफ टॉक अबाउट यूएस डिक्लाइन, यूएस एज अ सोसाइटी, एज एन इकोनॉमी सिंस माय चाइल्डहुड. यानी कि 40 साल से तो मैं ही सुन रही हूँ कि यूएसए खत्म होने वाला है, जो कि आज तक खत्म नहीं हुआ है. ठीक है, तो हम इसको बहुत सर्टेनिटी के साथ जो है वो अभी भी प्रिडिक्ट नहीं कर सकते. तो दिस इज बेसिकली a slow and gradual process जिसमें कोई जब तक, देखिए इसका एक फॉर्मूला ये है कि कोई आप इंडिया को आप क्यों समझ रहे हैं कि इंडिया कैन सर्वाइव फ्रॉम दिस सिचुएशन बिकॉज ऑफ द स्पिरिट ऑफ नेशनलिज्म दे हैव विद इन देयर ओन सेंटर्स. तो जिस तरीके से वो एक नेशन के तौर पे यूनाइटेड है, जिस तरीके से वो एक नेशनलिज्म को लेके ड्रिवन है, वो एक बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रेंथ है. सेम इज द केस विद ईरान, जो कि बिल्कुल हमने रिसेंटली उसको टेस्ट किया है डिस्पाइट ऑफ यूएस सैंक्शंस, लॉन्ग टर्म सैंक्शंस के बावजूद. जिस तरीके से ईरान ने एक बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग अपने राइवल को फेस किया और डिफीट भी कर दिया, वो ये सारे वो एग्जांपल्स हैं जिस जो आपको आंसर करते हैं कि बेसिकली जो मिथ्स होती हैं वो जिस तरीके से भी कंस्ट्रक्टेड हो, लेकिन उनको आप टोटली आप उनके ऊपर रिलाई नहीं कर सकते. जैसे मैं एक चीज में थोड़ा सा डिसएग्री करूंगी कि एक्चुअली अमेरिका वांटेड टू एंड द war between India and Pakistan because of its 600 companies or whatsoever. देखिए अगर तो आपको थोड़ा सा भी ट्रस्ट है न्यूक्लियर पावर की वॉर ना होने की वजह से, न्यूक्लियर पावर कैपेबिलिटी हासिल की ही इसलिए जाती है ताकि वॉर ना हो और न्यूक्लियर वेपन जो है वो ना चले. When there is a balance of power, there is always an understanding कि न्यूक्लियर वॉर नहीं होगी. This was an understanding and this is basically the understanding. पता है कि पाकिस्तान इंडिया will never go into a nuclear war. उसके बावजूद भी इस सिर्फ एक थ्रेट जो परसीव्ड थ्रेट है उसकी वजह से कि ना सिर्फ it will have consequences within the region but beyond the region, तो उसको रोकने के लिए not just to save their own companies कि बस उनको बचा लो और बाकी सारा जो रीजन है उसमें, ऐसा मैं नहीं समझती कि यूएस का इसके अंदर इंटरवेंशन का सिर्फ एक ऑब्जेक्टिव ये था कि ठीक है उनके इकोनॉमिक ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है वो हर जगह दुनिया भर के अंदर, नॉट जस्ट इन इंडिया. एंड बेसिकली द वे दे आर operating within India, they are benefiting their own companies because the products they are selling, they are American products. They are made in India on very cheaper rates. लेबर बहुत सस्ता है, रॉ मटेरियल सस्ता है, तो उस वजह से वो वहां से फायदे में ही डील करें. इंडिया इज बेसिकली नॉट गेटिंग मच फ्रॉम इट. सिर्फ एक जो फायदा है वो ये है कि इंडिया हैज अ बेटर सोल्यूशन टू द अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, पॉवर्टी एंड ऑल दैट. तो वो जो एक गैप है उसको फुलफिल करने के लिए तो आपके पास जाहिर है इंटरनेशनल कंपनीज है वो काम कर रही हैं, लेकिन हमें इसको देखना पड़ेगा कि बेसिकली स्टॉक के अंदर जो हाई स्टॉक रेट्स है वो इंडिया की इंडिजिनियस कंपनीज हैं या वेस्टर्न कंपनीज हैं. तो जब हम इसको देखते हैं मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज हैं या लोकल इंडियन कंपनीज है, तो हमें ये पूरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है कि बेसिकली हु इज गेटिंग बेनिफिट फ्रॉम द प्रेजेंस ऑफ मल्टीनेशनल कॉर्पोरेशंस और वर्सेस कौन सा है कि आपके पास जो इंडियन कंपनीज हैं, जो लोकल इंडिजिनस कंपनीज हैं. तो ये एक बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स इशू है जिसमें हमको एक जो कहते हैं ना वन लाइन फॉर्मूला हम इससे ड्रॉ नहीं कर सकते. बट द सिचुएशन इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्योंकि इस सिचुएशन के अंदर पाकिस्तान घुस गया है और पाकिस्तान जिस तरीके से एंटर हुआ है, दिस वाज नॉट इवन इन आवर इमेजिनेशन राइट बिफोर द ट्रम्प्स यू कैन से द मेहरबानी टुवर्ड्स पाकिस्तान. और जिस तरीके से ट्रम्प ने एकदम से, देखिए ट्रम्प जिस तरीके से एड्रेस कर रहा है, इट इज बेसिकली एड्रेसिंग द थ्रेट्स ऑफ चाइना, रशिया एंड ईरान. ये तीन साइड्स को एड्रेस करने के लिए उसको इंडिया से कोई मसला नहीं है. बेसिकली पाकिस्तान में आने का जो बेसिक उसका एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है, इट इज अकॉर्डिंग टू माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग, आप इसको डिफर कर सकते हो, इट इज बेसिकली वांट टू लैंड इनटू आवर लैंड just to counter the influence and integration of Chinese in Pakistan ईरान को यहाँ से बैठ के, क्योंकि रीसेंट एपिसोड सबने देखा है, तो ईरान को यहाँ से बैठ के आप जितनी अच्छी तरीके से इसको मॉनिटर कर सकते हो, जितनी तरीके से पाकिस्तान की पॉलिटिक्स के अंदर और पाकिस्तान की डिप्लोमेसी के अंदर इंटरवीन करके ईरान को आप एक तरीके से कंट्रोल कर सकते हो, डायरेक्ट कर सकते हो, इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हो। ये इससे पहले एक बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी यूएस ने शायद उस तरीके से एंजॉय नहीं की है। तो यूएस के पास इस वक्त जो अपॉर्चुनिटी है, ये सिर्फ हमारी जियो स्ट्रेटेजिक लोकेशन की वजह से नहीं है, या सिर्फ ये मार्केट की वजह से नहीं है। यहाँ पे मैं इसको देखती हूँ कि इसके एक लार्जर इसके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं जो कि जियो पोलिटिकल है, और जियो इकोनॉमिक ऑब्जेक्टिव जो रशिया के साथ है, जो इंडिया के साथ है, वो एक बहुत ही अलग बॉक्स है। तो इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स, मैंने बिल्कुल स्टार्टिंग में अपने लेक्चर में ही कहा था कि ये एक बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स सिनेरियो है। एंड अनिका, आई वुड सजेस्ट यू टू प्लीज मेक अ पार्ट 2 ऑफ इट। आप किसी और को भी इस पे जरूर इनवाइट करो, और जो आपका डिस्कशन होगा वो बहुत ज्यादा या तो चाइना सेंट्रिक करें या बहुत ज्यादा रशिया सेंट्रिक करें, ताकि इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग मजीद क्लियर हो। अभी वी हैव नॉट कम टू एनी कंक्लूजन, क्योंकि दिस इज मोस्ट रीसेंट नाउ, तो इतना रीसेंट होने की वजह से भी हम अभी बहुत ज्यादा कमेंट बहुत ज्यादा श्योरली नहीं कर सकते। बट मे बी आफ्टर 10 days और 20 days द सिचुएशन विल बिकम क्लियरर, और फिर हमें और समझ आ जाए कि ठीक है, इस वक्त रशिया क्या अपनी पॉलिसी ले रहा है, इस वक्त रशिया और चाइना की तरफ से आपको कोई ऐसा रिएक्शन नहीं आ रहा, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा।
इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट। हाँ, आईआर में हम किसी कंक्लूजन पे पहुंचना जो है वो बहुत ही मुश्किल है। सो ये जो आपकी जो कमेंट्री है, ये
ऐसा
बहुत
टॉपिक एक ऑनगोइंग है, जो कि यहाँ पे जब तक, जिस वक्त तक पाकिस्तान और के लैंड के ऊपर यूएस और चाइना मौजूद हैं, चाहे वो किसी कैपेसिटी में भी हो, चाहे वो अपने जियो इकोनॉमिक इंटरेस्ट पे हो, जियो स्ट्रेटेजिक इंटरेस्ट के लिए मौजूद हो, इस ट्रैप में जब हम अब इस वक्त एंटर हो चुके हैं, विदाउट एनी कंफ्यूजन, आई डोंट बिलीव दैट पाकिस्तान इज कंफ्यूज्ड। पाकिस्तानी एस्टेब्लिशमेंट इज वेरी मच क्लियर अबाउट इट्स स्टिल टुवर्ड्स अमेरिका, और वो चाइना को इसलिए नहीं छोड़ सकते बिकॉज इट हैज ऑलरेडी साइंड द सीपैक प्रोजेक्ट। तो वो अब ऐसी चीज है कि जिसमें पाकिस्तान को बहुत मुश्किल होने वाली है कि दो सुपर पावर्स के दरमियान आप जो है किसी एक छोटी सी कॉम जो है फंस के रह गए। अब आप निकलेंगे कैसे, इसके बारे में बहुत जल्दी हम अभी प्रिडिक्ट नहीं कर सकते, तो शायद उसके लिए भी हमें एक पार्ट 2 की जरूरत पड़े।
So we'll do that inshallah. मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन था। Yesterday I was reading 9 Lives of Pakistan by Walsh Ducklin, and he used this word called bad marriage or forced marriage to describe the relationship between Pakistan and India and the post 9/11 scenario, and also that Cold War scenario. So this time around, I would like to know that what, is Pakistan willing to have that collaboration and that alignment or not? Because previously Pakistan was forced into it, right? So is it still a forced marriage for Pakistan, or it's like strategic move?
He himself is a writer, भाई.
This marriage. पाकिस्तान इस मैरिज में जाने के लिए बकायदा मरने को तैयार हो रहा था कि हमें यूएस जो हमारे सर पे हाथ रख ले। और ये जो जिस तरीके से पाकिस्तान के अंदर जो प्रीवियस गवर्नमेंट जिस तरीके से चेंज हुई है, वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट फैक्टर्स दैट इज ऑलरेडी ऑलवेज डिस्कस इज द ट्रिप टू रशिया of the former prime minister. So that was basically the concluding point, क्या जहाँ पे फिर आपको पता है कि एक्सपोजर जिसने भी की पाकिस्तान के अंदर, जिस भी सिविलियन गवर्नमेंट ने की है, वो सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुई है। तो इसका मतलब ये है कि पाकिस्तान ऑलवेज वांट टू सी इटसेल्फ इनटू द कैंप ऑफ यूएसए और या यूएस के जो भी अलायंस है। तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि इट्स अ फोर्स्ड मैरिज और इट्स अ कंफ्यूज्ड मैरिज, इट इज अ वेरी वेल थॉट मैरिज, और जिसके लिए वेल डिजाइर्ड मैरिज एज वेल, और जिसके लिए पाकिस्तान इसे बहुत अच्छा फील कर रहा है, एंड पाकिस्तान इज सेलिब्रेटिंग इट एज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट अचीवमेंट्स हमेशा की तरह। ठीक है, तो लेकिन
how do you see this love triangle between Pakistan, China and US then?
Always a very difficult, whenever there is a love triangle, one party has to lose badly. तो उसमें से I wish and I pray कि पाकिस्तान उसमें से वो वाली पार्टी ना हो जो लूज करे, but the looking towards the equation, 2 superpowers and 1 very small power. तो where would we fall into, हमें इसको अंदाजा हो जाता है कि पाकिस्तान is not in a very good position, but strangely and surprisingly Pakistan is actually celebrating it. So this is something which is very interesting. और हम बहुत बड़ी बड़ी चीज़ों को, चैलेंजेस को हंसी मजाक में उड़ा देते हैं, लेकिन मुझे बहुत डर भी लगता है इस तरह की सिचुएशन देख के, स्पेशली आई वांट टू सीरियसली मेंशन इट बिफोर क्लोजिंग माय टॉक कि जो सिचुएशन बलूचिस्तान में ऑलरेडी डेवलप हो चुकी है, जो आगे हो सकती है, जिसको मैं या आप फोर्सी कर रहे हैं इस वक्त, मुझे बहुत डर है, मुझे बहुत कंसर्न है इस पे। एंड आई विश एंड प्रे कि पाकिस्तान कोई ऐसी चीज बिल्कुल ना करे कि जिसके बाद हमें मजीद 70,000 अपनी जानें कुर्बान करनी पड़े। तो दिस इज समथिंग विच आवर पॉलिसी मेकर मस्ट हैव टू कंसिडर बिफोर मेकिंग एनी फर्दर डिसीजन। अभी तक तो हमसे पूछा नहीं गया और फैसला हो गया, लेकिन आई विश के आगे कुछ ऐसा ना हो।
Dr. Samreen, would you like to say something on this?
नहीं, क्या बोलूँ मैं? सिद्रा has explained it quite wisely कि हम अजीब एक कश्मकश में हैं between the two super powers, जो मैंने पहले कहा था कि इंडिया को ये आर्ट आता है how to manage both the powers at the same time. ठीक है ना? दे आर हैविंग टू मैनी कंपनीज फ्रॉम चाइना, उनका आप ट्रेड डील्स देखें ज़बरदस्त हैं। एट द सेम टाइम उन्होंने अमेरिका के साथ जो है वो डील्स की हुई हैं, स्ट्रेटजिक भी हैं, इकोनॉमी के थ्रू भी हैं, प्लस वो उनके लिए एक अदर फिर आपने कॉड देखा कि वो कॉड में भी उनके साथ हैं, यानी कॉड भी है और ब्रिक्स भी है। तो ये तो इंडिया की फॉरेन पॉलिसी है ना, मतलब आप दो एक डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन देखें कि वो दोनों में है इंडिया। तो ये एक उनका सक्सेस है। और अभी इस वक्त जो है पाकिस्तान, जैसे सिद्रा ने कहा ना कि वो तो बहुत दिन से चाह रहे थे कि वो अमेरिका उनके ऊपर भी ना नजरें करम करे, तो हम तो वही चाह रहे थे कि हमें भी देखें भाई, उधर ही देखे चले जा रहे हैं, हम भी तो हैं। अब देख लिया तो अब कश्मकश है कि व्हाट टू डू, वेदर टू शेक हैंड्स विद चाइना और आप जो है वो यू नो उसके साथ जाएं, यूएस के साथ जाएं। तो अच्छा, जहाँ तक बलूचिस्तान की बात है, इस वक्त बलूचिस्तान में कोई काम सीपैक का नहीं हो रहा है। चाइना पाकिस्तान से ठीक ठाक नाराज है इस वक्त, क्योंकि वहाँ की जो सिक्योरिटी कंडीशंस हैं, जो वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, उसकी वजह से जो चाइनीज़ गवर्नमेंट है उन्होंने इतनी इन्वेस्टमेंट जो की है, पाकिस्तान की जो गवर्नमेंट है वहाँ पे इंटरनली लोगों को हैंडल करने में नाकाम रही है। और ये एक जो पाकिस्तान का जो फेलियर है, इसकी वजह से भी पाकिस्तान चाह रहा है कि उसके उसके यूएस के साथ ताल्लुकात बेहतर हों, कि अगर वहाँ से कोई डील खराब होती है तो उनके पास एक यहाँ की डील हो। लेकिन हमेशा हमें ये सोचना चाहिए कि वी कैन चेंज आवर फ्रेंड्स बट वी कैन नॉट चेंज आवर नेबर्स। चाइना हमारा नेबर है, हमें इंडिया, चाइना, ईरान, अफ़गानिस्तान इनके साथ सरवाइव करना है, तो शायद हमें रीजनल सिक्योरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स के ऊपर ज़्यादा तवज्जो देनी होगी। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much. Now, to formally close the academic part of our program, I invite Ms. Anika Memon, the founder of VOW Pakistan, to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Komal. So on behalf of VOW Pakistan, I would like to extend my gratitude to all of you who have joined us today. Special thanks to Dr. Sidra for accepting our invitation and for collaborating as well. And I am so impressed with your fierce and critical analysis on this topic. And I've never seen such a brave woman who has, yeah, obviously, who is not scared to say what she feels. And obviously, her analysis is, in multidimensional. So she's not even fearful to say the truth and accept the truth. And, also she gives us directions and dimensions to way forward, uh, to move forward in a positive way. And then I would like to extend my gratitude to all the GAP members. Thank you so much for collaborating with us. Thank you so much for joining us. A special thanks to Dr. Fatma Aga. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out your time and joining us. Dr. Samreen Bari, thank you so much. Dr. Sundar, she's not here, but she joined us for a short period of time. She's in Medina today. And thank you so much, Sir Iqbal Jamil, for joining us. He's a senior journalist. Thank you so much, Sir Amir Sultan, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I would like to extend my gratitude to Komal, who is our first young member of the VOW Pakistan. She has prepared everything on a very, very short notice. So thank you so much, Komal. Thumbs up to you. And yes, with CAP and with in collaboration with CAP, we are going to organize many more events, inshallah, and many more on-site events as well. So stay tuned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Anika, and
Thank
Komal
you
as well.
so much, Ma'am Anika. Thank you so much. Next, I invite Dr. Samreen Bari from CAP to share her concluding remarks. Please welcome Dr. Samreen Bari.
But I'm not Bari. I'm Bari.
I'm
First of all,
so
I've already shared my concluding remarks. I'm really grateful to Ms. Anika Memon and for providing us this platform. हम हमेशा लेक्चर दे रहे होते हैं लेकिन डॉक्टर सिद्रा का लेक्चर हमारे लिए ऑलवेज ट्रीट होता है. She has shared so many information at a time और I thoroughly enjoyed each and everything. मैंने बिल्कुल भी सारे बच्चों को इधर उधर करके मैंने कहा मुझे लेक्चर सुनना है तो ये भी होता है कि जब आप पढ़ा रहे होते हैं और आप के पास इतना टाइम नहीं होता तो इस तरह के जो लेक्चर्स होते हैं वो बहुत ज़रूरी होते हैं. तो ऑल द क्रेडिट गोज़ टू मिस अनीका मेमन and her team, Wow Pakistan. All the best for your future endeavors. Inshallah, inshallah. आपका प्लेटफॉर्म जो है वो बड़ा ज़बरदस्त होगा. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to give a very short message to the people who have joined us, like especially the young people and the people who will be listening this entire recording on my YouTube channel. काम कुछ मुश्किल नहीं, अज़्म मुसम्मम चाहिए. फूल सहराओं में भी बेशक खिला सकते हैं आप. या सो महरूमी का गलबा, क्यों जमाने से गिला. टेबल पे अपनी दुनिया खुद बना सकते हैं आप. दे रहा है जर्रा जर्रा हर घड़ी तरसे अमल. जिंदगी की रश्क अपनी बना सकते हैं आप. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, everyone. As we conclude, let us remember that independence is not just a date on the calendar, it is a responsibility we carry forward. May we continue to stand united, resilient, and proud. Pakistan Zindabad. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. God bless. Allah Hafiz.